That's a dream world, isn't it?
Be able to predict each delivery, each strategy. So maybe the way we should build out artificial intelligence as humans is we should develop an AI-based assistant for you. For you to be able to, that's
Don't worry, it'll happen.
Or is it already happening? You never know. Okay. How often do quantum computing conversations come up? Because it's come up on the show from a geopolitical perspective. The first country that cracks it will...
Right now, actually, if you ask me what's right on our plate, it's much more semiconductors. There's this whole chip war, which is going on. You can say a tech war, which is going on. So a lot of what we are doing today is about that. And it's about how do you actually prepare for an era where, sort of chips, you can say, is the new oil. And in fact, I was a week ago in Europe, and thereafter with the PM at the Quad in Japan. And a big part of those conversations were really about how countries cooperate to ensure what we call trusted collaboration, which is countries who have that faith in each other, who have similar systems. We use the word like-minded. These are normally market economies, democracies, how people with companies who follow company ethics and rules, like we know. How do these countries really come together and create a kind of a supply chain? Now, here's the bit which I think particularly your younger listeners should look at. There was a time 10 years ago, maybe more, 7-8 years ago even, I used to go around telling people, saying, look, you need to open up your economy more, mobility. There's Indians who would be looking for opportunities to work, because we really start, especially under Prime Minister Modi, one thing he keeps dinning into us, think of the world as a global workplace. Okay, this is one regular message we get from him in every possible way.
As a global workplace?
Global workplace. That don't think, your work opportunities could be anywhere. Now, it's your job in foreign policy to open up those doors. Okay. Why should a talented Indian be restricted? Okay. Now, if you are going to work everywhere, and this doesn't have to be rocket science, okay? I mean, you have people working in merchant shipping and air crews, in blue-collar jobs, in professional jobs, as chartered accountant. Any profession you take, how do you actually give a full kind of space for Indian talent to do its best? Now, coming back to this, I find because today we are moving into that tech competition or tech wars era, there's a huge demand today for trusted talent, for people who play by the rules, who understand how the international business systems work, skilled people, talented people. And these are the age group, we are looking at kind of below 35s. They are massively in demand in the world. And we just came out of Australia. We did a mobility agreement. The week before, I signed one with Austria. Austria, is not a country which you would immediately think of in terms of migration. Done it with Germany, with a number of European countries, and even with the US. Prime Minister is going to be going there next month. A lot of it is, look, how do we create the flows? Now, these kind of flows are going to be very different. It's like the world. You are very familiar, perhaps more than me. Your habits change. People don't have to leave India anymore to work somewhere. The global workplace doesn't mean you shift your place. It just means your employer doesn't have to be in the same town or the same country, or the service you render doesn't have to be there. So that's the kind of world, we are getting prepared for. So for me, if you look at the tech space, the global workplace, the mobility, the semiconductor, the what called critical emerging technologies, this is really what is sucking up the oxygen.
When I was growing up in the 2000s and early 2010s, you'd often go for family functions where the families would encourage the kids to leave India. And that used to piss me off when I was a kid. Why do you want to leave your country? Let's do something for the country. Maybe that's just the cricket fan in me talking, but it led me in the right direction. More than half of all the engineering students with me in college left the country. A lot of them wish to come back. I want you to directly address those people who are on the fence about coming back. How do we reverse this brain drain problem? That's one part of the question. 2, please address the parents who still want their kids to leave the country. And please address the kids who want to leave the country for whatever reason.
Look, I would define the issue differently from you.
Sure.
If you define it as, brain drain, here's our country, there is abroad, why are you leaving? You're making it a kind of choice which you may not necessarily get the outcomes you want. Okay. I put it to you very differently. It's, the world's like a kind of a membrane. You can go in and out. And actually, that's what's going to happen. I've actually encountered a lot of people who do a job, go abroad, do a job, come back, go again abroad. The days when you said, oh, if I leave a foreign country and come back to India, oh my God, maybe I'll never go back again. Now that's no longer the case. So what you say, yeah, sure, maybe 10, 15 years ago, that's the way the world was. I think we need to today recognize that, there was a time when you said a short-term job is what is the employer's preference. For a lot of people today, would actually say, okay, let me take this, but I'm not sure I'm going to commit my entire life to this. That's also happening. So the job is changing, the people are changing, mobility is changing, global economy is changing. I think you're going to see a lot of this up and down, movement. And people will also realize in many industries that actually you may get an opportunity in India, which may be better than an opportunity abroad.
Yeah.
Sure.
We have too many Indian Steve Wozniaks sitting in America right now who've studied, gained experiences of working in tech there. We have a lot of Steve Jobses in India who are looking for Wozniaks to come back here and build the kind of companies that we're seeing built out in Silicon Valley. So do you have anything to say about that? Is that correct thinking?
Look, I've been to Silicon Valley a few times. I see changes even in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley today is much more interested in the valleys of India. That's also happening. So it's not like escape to Silicon Valley and guys, now I found Nirvana.
Anymore.
Sure. I think you're seeing a lot of people,
okay,
out there coming back. After all, look, even for people out there, when they now see, you take the example of Apple, okay. Why it's been an important event is it's had a very strong resonance at different levels. It's had a resonance in manufacturing. It's a kind of validation of an improved business atmosphere. It's also, by the way, a testament to the quality of people they find. Now, this wouldn't have happened 10 years ago. So it's a very good example. Look, I can always tell anybody, everything is much better 10 years. Now you'll say, okay, show me the proof. To me, that's a proof. When you actually have good global companies, and the other interesting thing is when you have Indian companies, the big ones, who are actually now saying, maybe I'm going to invest a bit more in India. I don't need to necessarily hedge by going out. So that too is a factor. So things are happening.
Okay. Why are you doing this podcast?
I'm doing this podcast, one, because I like you. But two, I'm also doing it because I feel today you need to get people to understand what we are about, what the government's about, what the world is about. And different people absorb differently. Okay. There's still people, the beauty with India is you have 20 different mediums spread over 200 years. All of them are still working. It's like having an old model that's also working, and the latest gizmo is also working.